So, good evening, Team 5. Today is Sunday, June 14th, and this is our daily stand up to officially close out our combined Spring 1 and Spring 2 cycle. First of all, incredible job this week. Running two sprints concurrently was a huge undertaking, but looking at our Tiger bot, every single task is successfully sitting in the closed column, and our burn down chart has hit 0 point. So our core focus for this two sprint was establishing the high fidelity UI UX wireframes for the Nextcaller platform. We need to ensure that the user flow from searching to filtering to AI matching was visually intuitive and matched our stakeholder requirements. So let's go around the table and detail the specific design decisions we made for our user story. So Pingguan, as our product owner, let's start with your wireframing work on the filters and recommendation.
Thanks, Albert. For my Sprint 1 task under User Story 104, Advanced Filtering Options, my main goal was to design a clean lecturer workspace without overwhelming the user with too much data at once. In this design tool, I utilized a two-column layout. I built a fixed width frame on the left side specifically for the candidate filters. I designed clean drop-down components for the research area and add a simple high contrast checkbox for the CGPA cutoff to make it a quick one-click visual action. Moving to Sprint 2, Arik and I collaborate on the user interface for User Story 101, the AI supervisor recommendation. I focus on designing the individual supervisor match cards. Using a card-based layout, I prioritize visual hierarchy, the supervisor's avatar on the left, their name and title in bold dark text, and their available vacancy slot highlighted in a specific grand green color so it immediately catches the student's eye. I made sure to use consistent padding and auto layout principles so the card feel uniform. Junho, how did you handle the visual design for the compatibility scores?
The compatibility score was a really fun design challenge. For Spring 2 US 102, I needed to visually represent the AI matching percentage. Instead of just using plain text, I designed a circular vector gauge components. I create color codes variants for this gauge in our design systems. High score above 80% use our grand greens. Medium scores use our primary indigo, and lower scores switch to a warning orange. This gives the user immediate visual context. Besides, I also wireframe the expanded details panel for the cards. When a user clicks to expand, the card drops down to reveal a structural grid. I designed these grids to visually break down the AI algorithms, showing exactly which research area aligned. And using little green checkmark icons next to matching technical skill. For Sprint 1, I also designed the multi-select text for the skill filters. I create distinct visual states for this text, so when a user clicks once, the background color shifts to purple to clearly show it is active. Arik, do you want to talk about the global search UI and the student form?
Yeah, thanks, Junho. For my Sprint 1 assignment US 105, my focus was wireframing the global keyword search to ensure the whole platform. I designed the top navigate header to feature a prominent tail-shaped search input right or in the corner. To make it look modern, I apply a sharp drop shadow effect to simulate how it would like look like when a user focuses on the bar. I also designed a collaborator dropdown and use my profile toggle switch directly inside the search area to keep the interface compact and clean. For Sprint 2, complementing Sprint 1's work, I designed my research profile from the user student view instead of a boring text box of CGPA. I designed a costume slider component with a purple track. Below that, I laid out clickable tiers text for research fields and technical skills. The UX goal here was to make the form feel highly interactive. We designed it so that the layout naturally guides the students' eyes from clicking their profile on the left directly to the AI-generated supervisor result updating on the right. Over to you, Albert.
So great breakdown, Eric. The typography and the spacing choice really make those forms professional. For my Sprint Task 1, Sprint 1 task, US 106, I handle the research category filters on the main dashboard, and I design a horizontal row of toggle buttons, the all, pause, events, and the funding. So I create an active variant for these buttons with a solid purple field, so the user always knows which category they are currently viewing. So for Spring 2, Gary and I collaborate heavily on US 103, the student profile comparison matrix. Designing tables can easily become cultures, so we focus heavily on white space and alignment. We design a clean side-by-side evaluations layout, and to enhance the UX, we create a custom visual badge, a small green tag that says highest. That is placed directly under the CGPA of the top student in the matrix to draw the lecturer's attentions. So we also realized the user need to a clean escape route. So I add a secondary back to lecture workspace button at the top to maintain a logical navigation flow. So Gary, do you want to cover your mockup work for the selection process and the notification center?
Absolutely. For Sprint 2 student comparison, my role was design the entry point. I added standard checkbox component to the top right corner of every student card in the lecture view. I designed the main compare selection button to have two distinct stacks, a disable grayed out stack and an active dark blue stack that trigger once two candidates are selected. My biggest chunk of UI work was for Sprint 1 US 301, the notification updates. I start by adding a notification bell icon to the dot header, complete with a red notification dot vector. But to fully satisfy the requirement, I wireframe an entire dedicated notification center full page view. I lay out a left sidebar for sub-navigation, a center feed with tab sorting for all unread and read, and a right side widgets column showing a notification summary. I use blue dot vector to denote unread message and state the category batch like system or opportunity to match our global color palette perfectly. The entire wireframe look like a polished production lit interface.
Wow, it really does, Gary. So the design consistency across everyone's components is excellent. We successfully translate a very complex set of agile requirements into a cohesive, high fidelity UI prototype. So since all our tasks are officially closed in Tigal, our next step are to export high resolutions image of these screens. We will compile them along with our generative AI usage log into the appendix of our sprint deliverable report. So tomorrow we will formally present this prototype to our lecturer and walk them through the user journey. I'm incredibly proud of the visual fidelity we achieved under such a tight deadline. So thank you for your hard work this week, everyone. That officially concludes our stand-up.